This week's Parsha, we learn about one of the most celebrated figures in our history. That's Avraham Avinu, Abraham, our patriarch. And we learn many fascinating things about the life of Abraham. Towards the end of this week's Parsha, we learn something very interesting about Abraham. Now, Abraham was always a person that practiced kindness, always hospitable, caring, and kind towards others, offering someone a hot meal, support for the ill, a holding hand for the needy. Abraham was always there. In fact, it says in the end of this week's Parsha, Vayeira Eshel beBeersheva. Abraham lived in Beersheba, and he planted an Eshel. What is an Eshel? An Eshel, the Talmud teaches us, stands for the three components of hospitality that Abraham practiced. And that is Achila, he gave them food to eat. Shatia, he gave them beverages to drink. And Levaya, he escorted them out afterwards. Now, what's so remarkable about Abraham's kindness was not only did he offer them a hot meal and something cold to drink, but he afterwards would accompany his guests outside the house and say, "Thank you for coming and visiting me." And he would thereby give them their dignity. They wouldn't feel like they were just recipients and just freeloaders. He would actually give them their dignity back after he served them those warm meals. But what the pasuk tells us afterwards, the verse tells us afterwards, is even more remarkable. Because the verse tells us afterwards, Vayikra Sham b'Shem Hashem, he called out in the name of God. Kel Olam, who was the God of all eternity. Now what does this mean? That he planted this Eshel, he practiced this hospitality, and then he called out in the name of God. Were they two separate things? I think we can take a look at our lives and learn something very relevant that we see from this Parsha. And that is, in our lives, when we practice kindness, when we go ahead and we give a hand to the needy, or we give hospitality to someone that needs it, we are emulating God's way in the world. Just like He is kind, so too we are kind. Just like He is compassionate, so too we are compassionate. And therefore, we sometimes don't even have to say a word, because our actions speak louder than words. And if we walk in this path, we travel down this path and emulate these ways of kindness and hospitality, we are living a godly life. A life that emulates God's ways in this world. And people can look at us and say, wow, now that's a noble way to live. That's an uplifting and godly way to live. And that's the way Abraham lived his life. He lived a life of practicing kindness and hospitality that people said, wow, this is a man that's completely selfless. This is a man that just acts this way, and he's so compassionate and kind because he wants to bring godliness into this world. And by him planting that Eshel, he was able to bring an awareness and a respect to God's name in this world. Folks, in our times, in our societies, we have so many opportunities to practice kindness, hospitality, and tzedakah, charity. Let us follow the path of Avraham Avinu, of living that life of Eshel, living that life of providing kindness, of hospitality and charity to others. And we will continue in his path by raising godliness in this world. Have a wonderful Shabbos.